Hello, hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to Medicine Talks. I know we're not your usual Shar. I am Schona, Christie, and I'm here with Teresita Alvarado. Some of you all may know, and Char's been so gracious to allow us to do her Real Medicine Talks today. And what we're here to do and talk about is our workshop that is coming up called Empowered Embodiment, which is for specifically people of visible culture. So it's for the BIPOC community and people of visible culture to have a space of healing and processing without white gaze. I think that to start, like about me, I typically, or well, not typically, I have been a mentee of Char's and learning with her for I think like 6 or 7 years now, and something that has been really present and come forward, especially with all of the, the Black Lives Matter movement and all of the upheaval and everything that we've walked through 2020, and even before when the Black Lives Matter movement started, and was it 2015 or what have you? I might be wrong on that date. Something that I noticed is like there's a lot of these healing spaces and a lot of processing places, or I would even say there's a lot of processing places where people come and they process their stuff, and there are separate spaces of like white spaces to be able to process, and BIPOC spaces. And what I came to realize in being in those spaces is there's a lot of processing, but there isn't any healing involved. And through my own journey, processing everything is great, but also what that does is it unearths all of the work. And without any healing or opportunity or tools on how to move through it, we're all just like re-traumatizing ourselves and triggering, and just like I like to say, like lighting the switchboard of all the triggers, just like lighting it up. So this is a space that Teresita and I have kind of been walking together in curating for the past few years, so that there is a place of like healing, working on those triggers and things, and having a place to be able to process, but also to metabolize and resolve and stand in power and be different than your wounds or your, ancestral hand-me-downs, right? So that's like kind of the intention coming forward, and I'll let Teresita talk about it too.
Yeah, hi everyone. Schona has graciously invited me to do this workshop with her this winter. And I'm so excited to be here and to be able to provide this space for all of you that you come to be with us. And similar to Schona, I've been being a student of Char for, I don't know, about 5 years. And yeah, this work around how the oppressive systems that exist have affected me is something that has come forward as I've gone into my healing journey. And Schona and I have supported each other through this journey and have been great support to each other. So I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, that's something that comes to light to me, is that even with healing, also something that becomes very important is to how can we change our body to receive things in a different way, and how can we be more connected to our bodies so that that healing that we're going through is starting to be more at the cellular level, and we can receive that healing in a way that is gonna change our bodies so that they know that they're safe, and so that in that way we can become empowered and use our voice and move in the world in a different way, instead of from the place of feeling like the world is an unsafe place. Because as people from a target group, we do learn that this world is very unsafe, and we become kind of very alert of what's going on around us and how people are perceiving us. And it becomes even more and more depending on how many target groups you fall into, right? So we're here to really create a space where we can start that healing work at the cellular level, and where our bodies can start to know that we are safe, so we can become empowered and be more centered in our lives and everything that we bring to this world.
Yeah. Thank you. That was like such a great segue too. So Teresita and I, we've come up with 4 pillars of empowerment. And this is just like something that we have come up with as like a tangible thing to work through the process with. And so the first pillar is embodiment, which is exactly what she was talking about. And, you know, I would say that my own personal journey and healing journey has been centered around embodiment. And to be embodied, I have learned, you know, or for me, I will say in particular, has been really hard. You know, I am a female, I am, well, female presenting, I am a person of culture, I am a bigger bodied person. So, you know, Teresita was talking about target groups, what that means, because we're working off of a book that is written by Leticia Nieto, and she has really great ways of talking about privilege, basically. And so targets are different ways at which we're underprivileged versus agents, which are privileges. So that's what we mean by that. And so those are 3 target groups for me already. And so walking around in our society and our culture, there's a lot of things stacked up against me. I'm going to say that loosely, stacked up to keep me disempowered. And that hit my nervous system differently based upon how I'm treated in the world. And so in that, I have learned that it's not safe to be in my body. And so all of the healing journey and the work has been to be embodied. And I will say that's been very challenging and uncomfortable. And it is like the best blessing and thing you can do for yourself in addition to it. And the biggest component that I've gleaned from all of that personally is in order to be embodied is you have to be safe. And like, you know, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, and I had like this idea over here that's outside of me of like safety, but to actually know what it feels like to be safe here with me, with self, is a whole different experience. And so that's part of our walk together of connecting to that in a group.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to take that a little bit further, part of what we're trying to do in this workshop is how can we use our bodies to us? How can we become so embodied that our bodies can actually tell us? Like, I don't know about some of you, but for me, sometimes I get confused between what's my intuition and what's my trauma coming up. Like maybe I may be too alert because of trauma coming out, and I've noticed that the more that I'm connected with my body, the more I'm able to tell when it's an intuition versus a trauma response. Because if I feel that my body is so like tight and maybe feeling certain things that feel dangerous, maybe then that becomes more of my trauma coming out, as opposed to if I'm able to be fully connected with my body and then get in touch of what my heart may be saying or what my body may be telling me, then it's a different experience. So how can we heal to get to that point so we can have a better connection with our bodies, but also where we can actually be fully embodied, like fully express our bodies and allow our bodies to guide us in how we want to move through this world. I don't know if you noticed that I started this conversation with being pretty tight. And now as we're trying to loosening it up, it's like it's more expression, and how can we express ourselves with our body? Because that it's a big part of ourselves. And I think in moving in the place of feeling in danger, we try to hide ourselves and we become enclosed, and how our bodies may show up. And it's a very different experience to go from this to like being open and stand tall for yourself and allow for your body to express what it needs to express.
Yeah. And that reminds me to another important component that comes along with safety and embodiment is radical self-love, right? This is, I mean, I love Sonia Renee Taylor's work on radical self-love. You guys can read The Body is an Apology. It's not an apology if you haven't read it. Highly recommend. And what I will say is like, that's the next level, is like radical self-love. Because if I am here and I'm like, yeah, radical self-love, and I'm like trying to be embodied, but really I'm like, oh my gosh, my hips, oh my gosh, this, I don't like this about myself. You're just sitting there tearing yourself down. Then how is it possible to be safe in your body, right? So this is all just like to say some of the things that we'll be getting into. I feel like we're like going into the workshop now, so I'm going to switch gears to the next pillar. I mean, I hope you all can tell we're like super excited about this. So the second pillar we'll be working on is voice. And voice is, you know, I'm sure you all can resonate and agree. Voice is challenging. It's hard to have a voice. It's hard to speak up for ourselves, for others. You know, it's hard to speak the truth without blame or judgment. It's hard to, in a space where there is a power differential, to hold your power and to speak for yourself and to, you know, stay in that versus like shrinking down, appeasing all the different things. And so that's the next pillar we'll work on. I'm like, if Teresita, if you have anything else to say about voice.
Yeah, it's very important to use our voice. And yeah, we get taught, especially as you have more target groups, you're taught to be quiet. And it takes a lot of work when you've gone through those things to get to a space where you can feel fully comfortable expressing what you need to express, and in a way that it's not coming from a triggered place. Because especially when we're talking about conversations about how to stand up for yourself in situations when you're being targeted or oppressed, it's important to be able to come into it from a centered place. That way, people are able to hear you, and you're able to express what you need without going right away into that trauma response. And to me, that requires a lot of healing around the voice. And yeah, because I lost my train of thought. But yeah, and the more you get used to using the voice and maybe even make sounds, and again connecting it to the body, it kind of brings it out in an easier way, and it makes it safe for that to happen. So there may be some exercises that we may do around the voice to kind of help with that. And also how to how to reclaim your voice so that you can be fully empowered and bring the authenticity that we all deserve to bring, because we all deserve that. And there are groups that are given more of that space, and groups that are given less of that space, but we all deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then following voice is power. And like, if we are centered and aligned in our bodies, in that space of love for ourselves, and we have access to our voice, then our power shines through. Then it's really clear what our limits and boundaries are. Then even if we're in a power differential and somebody is above us, it's a boss, it's a whatever, all of the things, we still can hold our ground and be really clear and concise and heard, even if it's not what they want to do, which is to hear or to, whatever. And so voice segues into power. And I really like what Gary Zukav said. He is the author of Seat of the Soul. And he said, power is the alignment of personality with the soul. And so what we're really going to be doing is working on, through this workshop, getting ourselves back to center so that we can be in alignment with our soul. Because when we're in alignment with our soul, centered, grounded, powered, empowered, embodied, then we can manifest our destinies, have access to our dreams, start really, creating the life that we want to see for ourselves. And so, in the big picture, that's like the goal for the work. Not to say like all of a sudden, but why not? Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, to be aligned with what you said, the power is the alignment of personality with the soul. To me, that means what I was talking about bringing your authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And the more authentic that you can be, as much as you can be, because I don't know that we can be fully authentic 100% of the time. That would be ideal, but I feel that that's a little bit challenging. But how can we get to a point where we can be as the closest to our authenticity as we can for the most of the time that we can? Because when we are able to do that, then we're able to be ourselves and we bring the gifts and talents that we came to bring. And the more that we can do that, the more medicine that we're bringing into the world, the more that we're helping heal the world. And I mean, the more that you can fulfill your destiny, as Schona was saying. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't know that I have more to say about it. I think you kind of said it all.
No, I mean, that was great. Yeah, I was thinking like, and I also want to name, right? Like, we're like, yes, let's be authentic, but that's hard. Like, that's not an easy place. That is one of the most uncomfortable spaces to be, is authentic, because, that's just it's so vulnerable. It is so vulnerable to be authentic. And coming from a space of vulnerability, just from being, from marginalized spaces, marginalized groups, however you want to say it, that's dangerous to be authentic, right? So where are spaces where you can fully express your authenticity? Where are spaces that empower you? And how is it to really continue to learn how to be really centered and grounded in yourself? So like all of the care of like what other people think and all of the pressures kind of fall away. And it's like, this is just what it is and who I am, right? So like, yeah, coming in with authenticity, with the power, is super important. And then the final pillar is integration. And I think like with a lot of healing and everything, integration is something that's kind of like, oh yeah, and then you just integrate. It's fine. Let's do all this work and then like good luck with integration. And I really think it was important to bring that piece in, because like, we're going to share with you all of these tools and things that we've learned, and whatever resonates, whatever doesn't, right? But the important part is to take what you've learned and the things that resonate and the things that you want to cultivate, and take time and space to integrate them. And that we have some like practices and stuff you can do to help, because not only is that just going to change how you move in the world, but it's also working on rewiring your brain to receive things different. It's also like tapping into the nervous system to shift and change like our reactions and stuff. So like you're not easily triggered, and then in a stress response you're able to be like, okay, I see that I'm starting to elevate and go into a stress response. What are my things I need to do in order to get centered and grounded? Because when we're in a stress response, we're not, and so on and so forth. So working on integrating everything that we gather here in this space that we're creating together, and taking time and having practices around that too. Because like the other component of radical self-care is like our self-love is radical self-care. Yeah. No, like, yeah. Teresita, do you have any more?
Yeah, and something that we're bringing to this workshop is combining some of our different medicines that we bring.
Mhm.
And part of what I'm gonna bring is a practice that is around using movement to heal, but also to integrate. Because as we're gonna be moving through these 4 pillars, we're gonna be doing also some movement practices that will allow us to, at each pillar, kind of integrate little pieces of each pillar. And then at the end, hopefully we can bring all of 4 pillars together, and with movement, integrate maybe a new vision for yourself. And so that you're able to move different in your life and in your world. And you will be able to use those practices if they call to you, to use them on your own to continue that integration process. So that will be another type of exercise that we'll be doing through the whole workshop. So for that integration part.
So exciting. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's the gist of the long-winded gist of the workshop that we are offering. It starts January 18th through March 15th, with the last date, which is like honorable closure and everything, on March 18th. And all are welcome. Anybody who is a person of visible culture who is interested in doing some self-healing work and contributing to the collective in that, and who's open-minded and open-hearted is welcome to join us. And we look forward to seeing you all. And if you're not a person of visible culture, but you have friends or family members that you think would benefit from this, please share. And yeah, we hope to see you there.
And yeah, if you have any questions or if you want to register, you feel free to email the Sundust Historical Institute office, which the email is sundust. Is it Sundust? Sorry, I'm having a moment here. Why am I not remembering? Yeah, it's sundushistorical@gmail.com.
And we will we can post it in the link below, the caption.
Yeah, in our posts.
And
yeah.
this is obviously not our normal thing. We will make sure there's information with this video of how to register and everything. And yes, we do have sliding scale options and everything, because we want to make sure that anybody who is wanting to be a part of this can. So thank you all so much for joining us and listening and being here with us. And hopefully we'll see you virtually next Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited to be with you for the next couple of months. Okay, bye.
Bye.